Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, December 15th, 2023. I'm here with Luke again, polishing off his triple header on the show. We'll have
Yes.
Colin back on Monday's episode, but our normal scheduled programming on a Friday. NFL Week 15, top 5 shortstops in 2023, Premier League weekend, UCL Matchday 6. We're going to talk some qualifications, some potential matchups for the knockout stages, and then questions time. But for the first time, Reddit questions time. We're going to have our questions submitted to us on Reddit. They're actually just submitted by Nathan. Nathan, obviously my brother, friend of the program, submitted the questions on Reddit. They're pretty fun. I went ahead and looked at them. They're pretty good. Um, so we'll do that to finish off the show. But for now, no more bye weeks in the NFL. The first week of Saturday games, some big shifts in the playoff picture could arise this weekend, and we're really just in full end of the season mode in the NFL. Luke, how are you feeling?
Woo! Feeling great, man. We gotta, now it's time to start talking about playoff implications because there's a lot of them.
Yep.
I mean, even on Saturday, we have two games that are both full of teams that are 7-6. So I mean, it's coming down to the wire for some of these teams, especially my Steelers. So I'll have to see how they do on Saturday football, Saturday NFL. Crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, why don't we go ahead and get into it? NFL week
Do it.
15. It's going to be a good one. There's some great matchups, and we start with our first Saturday games of the week or of the season. Vikings Bengals 1 o'clock on Saturday. This one's interesting. Both teams way out of the I don't know, way away from what we thought they would be coming into this season. Of course, the Vikings are
Huh.
starting Nick Mullins, I think, this week. The Bengals, obviously, Jake Browning, the legend of himself, continuing.
God.
Yeah. But for
Yeah.
some reason, both of these teams, despite the injuries to their quarterbacks and despite everything else that's happened this season, bad starts for both of these teams as well, they both find themselves in some must-win situations, and obviously this week a must-win for both sides, and only one can come out.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't think this game's really that interesting. You have the Vikings that are 1-2 in their last three. They lost to the Broncos by 1. They lost to the Bears by 2, and then they beat the Raiders by 3, which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it. But the Bengals, though, have put up 34 points in back-to-back games with Jake Browning, and the Vikings have scored 15 points in their last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go Cincinnati. Listen, if I'm Minnesota, we got to get the ball to Justin Jefferson if he's healthy. I know he's, coming off of that chest injury that Josh
Yeah.
Dobbs led him into from last week. But yeah, this Vikings team is kind of screwed. We're off the Josh Dobbs hype train, I think.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Or at least the whole NFL should be. But yeah, the Bengals look really good. Despite, not having Joe Burrow. I mean, 34 points back-to-back weeks without your starting quarterback is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, Justin Jefferson had a full practice Thursday. He was limited on Tuesday and Wednesday. Right now, he's listed as questionable. I have a feeling he's going to play.
Yeah.
Just because this is a big game for the Vikings. Because at the moment, they're second in the NFC North. Yeah, second in the NFC North, and honestly, they've found the Lions in a point of vulnerability. They just lost to the Bears. They have not been playing good football the last couple of weeks. This is the best time to strike for Minnesota. Unfortunately, Nick Mullins is going to have to lead the charge.
Yeah, and if we want to talk even more, you have a third place Packers team that's 6-7. They're only like one game behind them, basically. And I mean, they're right there. They look way better than the Vikings have looked in their past couple weeks. And yeah, I mean, even the Bears, they're 5-8. They're only one game behind the Packers, and they look even better than the Vikings do right now. So the Vikings got to turn it around against the Bengals team that just looks so good with their backup quarterback, and I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to go 28-10 Vikings.
Okay.
Or no, Bengals. Sorry.
Oh.
Whoa. I said all that and then picked the Vikings.
Gotcha.
28-10 Bengals.
I'm going to go 27-17 Bengals.
I like it.
Yep. All right. Next game on Saturday, Steelers Colts, another 7-6 versus 7-6. This one, what do you think? Like these, in my opinion, neither of these are playoff teams. Even despite where
Yeah.
they sit right now, I don't see either of these teams either making the playoffs. If they do by, some odd reason, I don't see them doing anything once they get there.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, the Bengals, or sorry, the Colts, they've been able to compete with a lot of very good teams with their current situation. But I mean, if they don't have Jonathan Taylor, it's a definite no because Zach
Yeah.
Moss has been kind of getting eaten up the past couple weeks. Yeah, they need their guy Jonathan Taylor back. Michael Pittman is really the only consistent guy on their offense, I would say. And, their defense has just been too inconsistent. On the Steelers side, I mean, what is there to say except for the broken record that, of all the things I've been saying all year long, run game, incredibly inconsistent. When it's bad, it's probably the worst in the league. And without Kenny Pickett, we definitely can't win. I have my problems with Kenny Pickett, but at least I know he can win football games. Mitchell Trubisky can't win football games. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the Steelers. Knowing Mike Tomlin, I would expect us to, stop the slip. And honestly, I think we're going to beat the Colts, but it's going to be tough, man. It's going to take a lot from Mitchell Trubisky. It literally all comes down to him. He's the only factor in this game, him and our run game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, you guys haven't really had problems at receiver. Deontay and George Pickens are both playing pretty well, all things considered with the quarterback play. And then Najee and Jalen Warren certainly aren't doing a bad job right now. It's just more about the fact that they're not getting into a position where they can run the ball all that much. So you're right. It's all on Mitch. He's really got to do something, but there is a few things that, factor in that could help you guys out in this one. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor out. Offensive tackle Braden Smith out. DeForest Buckner had a full practice Tuesday, was limited Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday. Might be missing him too.
Okay.
That would be a big loss for them. So, I don't really know what the deal is there, but for Pittsburgh, obviously Kenny's out, like we kind of already established. Sayumalo is questionable, but I have a feeling he'll end up not playing. He didn't practice at all this week. So I'm kind of surprised he's questionable. But maybe that, is a good thing. And then obviously TJ Watt cleared concussion protocol earlier in the week, so he's all good to go as well. Yeah, I think the Steelers can take this one only because of the injuries to the Colts. And like Gardner Minshew is prone to make mistakes. It just seems like they haven't been game-changing because they haven't played a lot of super close games. But in the close games they have, a lot of times they lose because of, mistakes that happen early in the game, really just throughout the game from the offense. I think obviously the Steelers offense can make mistakes as well. Mitch Trubisky certainly isn't a perfect quarterback, but I think you guys could capitalize on some of the mistakes the Colts make because you guys have such a good defense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm going to go 2017 Pittsburgh.
Okay. I'm going to go 24-20 Pittsburgh.
I like it. And I also I want to mention playoff implications for the AFC North as well. With last week, Joe Flacco playing very good football for the Browns, which is not very good for the Steelers. I mean, really, out of all the teams in the AFC North, the Steelers have been the team that's slipping. You have the Steelers have lost 2 in a row. The Browns are coming off of a win. The Ravens are coming off of 3, and the Bengals are coming off of 2. So it's really, more so for the Steelers than anybody. Tied at the bottom with the Bengals at 7-6. We got to get it going because the other 3 teams are looking really, really good right now.
Yeah.
Really good. Agree. I would even say the Browns have a shot with Joe Flacco at quarterback if they make the playoffs.
Yeah.
That defense is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, they're amazing. They're 6-1 at home.
I know. They're a great team. And we'll talk about them in a minute, but let's get into Saturday night football. Broncos Lions. And I love this matchup
Ooh,
because
great game.
I think that the Broncos I do think they're a pretty good team. They've kind of become, in my eyes, like the litmus test to see if you're a great team or not. Like, they're the one you try out. A great team can beat the Broncos for sure. But
Yep.
it's a good way to figure out if you're a good team or not because it's a well-coached team. They have a veteran quarterback. They have good receivers. They have a very good defense. If you can beat that team, there's a whole lot of other teams you can beat. And it's also a big matchup for the Broncos' playoff hopes because kind of the remainder of their games are cupcakes after the Lions. Like they've got the Patriots, Chargers, Raiders after this Lions game. That's so easy.
And they're one game back from Kansas City.
Yeah. Like they genuinely have a shot with how bad Kansas City has played. If Denver can just keep playing good football, they're going to win. But for the Lions side, much trickier. The loss last week throws off kind of the rest of the season. Because you were about to be 10-3, you're essentially shoe in for a playoff spot, almost shoe in for this division. Now, there's a whole lot of work to do, and you have some tough games to close it out. Because if the Vikings look okay, even with Nick Mullins at quarterback, the Lions go Broncos, Vikings, Cowboys, Vikings, and they're away at the Cowboys. That's a loss right now. In my
Sunday night
mind.
football on Jerry World, dude, or Monday night. I don't know what day the 30th falls
Uh,
on, but it's a primetime game.
Monday.
Or no, it's on ABC. Yeah.
Yeah. Monday
Yeah.
night. But nonetheless, like that's gonna be a big deal. And I think that beating the Broncos here puts you at 10 wins, makes you a whole lot more comfortable, especially if the Vikings lose on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. The Lions can go into this game knowing that, if they get the win here, they'll be at least 3 games ahead, at the least 2 games ahead of the rest of the division with only 3 to play.
Yeah, but I want to mention though the Broncos are catching a Lions team at the perfect time because
Yeah.
I mean, you have the Lions coming off of the loss to the Packers on Thanksgiving, I believe, is when they lost to the right when they played the Packers. Pretty sure that was Thanksgiving Day.
Maybe. I can't remember.
I think it was coming off a 29-22 loss. Then you go play New Orleans, who struggled all year long, and you put up 33, but you also gave up 28 and almost a comeback loss. Then you have Chicago, granted division rival, but you didn't even keep it within one score. You lost 28-13. I really think, Grayson, that this Broncos team is going to take it here. I really do. It's going to be tough. All the questions are on Jared Goff right now. I mean, the run game for the Lions has looked fine, especially last week. They only put up 13 points, but Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, we talked about it on the Monday episode, looked really, really good. I mean, it counted for almost 130 yards, just those two. So yeah, I think the Broncos, they're just coming off of really 2 good games. Even their loss before the win against the Chargers, like they didn't let it affect them at all. They came out and just killed the Chargers. I don't want to talk about Justin Herbert getting hurt. Obviously that affected it, but still, I mean, they killed him. They killed him.
Definitely. So I don't know how to feel going into this because like the Lions are on paper the better team. You look at the record, obviously. You look at the guys on the squad. Everything about them seems like they're the better team. But the form that the Broncos are on is crazy. Like, the thing is that they can put up 20 points to 28 points every week, and it's just kind of up to whatever the other team has if they're going to win. Like, the Broncos' defense is great. Like, Surtain is going to give Amon-Ra St. Brown a fit this week. But, is Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, are those guys going to do a good job? And then for the Broncos offense, can Javonte Williams run well in this game? Is Cortland Sutton going to actually catch the ball when you throw it to him. Same for Jerry Jeudy. There is factors that are going to play into this that simply nobody's going to know how it's going to go until it's over.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I'm going to just stick with the Lions just because there is a good side, and we've seen it so many times this season. I can't judge them off of, a couple of weeks. So I'm going to take the Lions 27-20.
Okay, I'm going to take the Broncos 24-21.
Okay. Well, let's get into Sunday's matchups. We'll start off with Bears-Browns. And interesting scenario here. The Bears could win out, go 9-8, and maybe make the playoffs because
Yeah.
their schedule isn't that bad. And if they catch this Browns team, which injuries and everything obviously haven't shut them down because, Flacco's come in, done a great job, but they're certainly more limited than they were prior. And after this Browns team, the Bears play the Cardinals, the Falcons, and then at the Packers. Those are all winnable games if they're running an offense like they did against Detroit last week.
Yeah, they are, but I feel like with the Bears, their 50-50 offense is going to meet a serious challenge whenever they go and play Cleveland. And especially if you have Flacco throwing for, 250, 300 yards and multiple touchdowns and only one pick, it's going to take a very good game for the Bears to keep up with the Browns.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Like, that offense is going to have to be rolling for the Bears if they want a chance because this Cleveland defense is very good. They only give up just over 100 rushing yards per game. They give up only 159.7 passing yards per game. That is
Yep.
amazing. And it
Yeah.
definitely is proven with their record and the teams they've beaten, like beating the Jags last week. They shut down Trevor Lawrence. They beat the Steelers. Bad quarterback play. You're never going to survive. They beat the Ravens. That one was just they were just punching each other in the face in that game.
Yeah.
But like Cardinals, Colts, the 49ers when Brock Purdy wasn't playing well, like they'll expose a quarterback here and there and it gets them the
Yep.
win. I got a feeling that's how this goes this week. Justin Fields probably gets just shut down in the passing game and the running game just can't keep up. So I'm going to go Cleveland 23, Bears 14.
That's a good score. I like Chicago's chances going back to something that you said last week. I think Justin Fields, if he's going to freestyle, he definitely needs to do it this game. Because, I mean, the Browns' pass rush is going to be there, right? I mean, the pocket's going to be shredded probably most of the game. But what happens when Justin Fields can get out of the pocket, extend the plays, give his wide receivers more time, or even, make a running play down the field? That is where I think the Bears can win this game, but I don't think it's going to happen against the Browns. I'm going to go Cleveland 21, Chicago 13.
Okay, let's move on to the next game then. Buccaneers-Packers. Once again, just a survival game. Both these teams 6-7, but they've both got things to play for. The Bucs know that the NFC South, your wins are going to come sparingly. We'll keep it at that.
Yeah.
And it's likely that you're going to have to win if you want to go to the playoffs. That's just how it goes in the NFC South right now. But for the Packers, they're in a position where they can actually make the playoffs as well. At 6-7, it seems like, oh, you're below 500 this point in the season, you're never going to make it. But they've got Buccaneers, Panthers, Vikings, Bears. Obviously, the Panthers is a win, but if they win this game versus the Bucs, which you're bringing them to Lambeau, and you've been playing amazing football. I know they lost to the Giants on Monday Night Football last week. It was weird. But the way they have been playing, considering they beat the Chargers, Lions, and Chiefs in 3 straight weeks, I still feel very good about how they're playing. The Giants is just so weird. When you just look at who's playing right now for the Giants, you're confused. And I think that probably is part of it. But if they can just lock in for the rest of this, they can win any of these games. They can win all of these games, and I think they could beat the Buccaneers this week.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned that, the Packers are still a hot team despite losing to the Giants. I kind of felt like that was a little bit of an outlier game, not to
Yeah.
take anything away from Tommy DeVito and the Giants, but like when Tommy DeVito rushes for 71 yards and Saquon has 86 and 2 touchdowns, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
That's a great way to win football games. So I still have confidence in the Packers to get it done. Despite their run game being shit, they've actually, surprisingly figured out how to win games without the run game, which is something that I thought they were going to have to rely on a little bit more this year. And on the Buccaneers side, I thought that win against the Falcons was very great.
Yeah.
For the past couple weeks, we've kind of been talking about the Buccaneers in a negative light, especially offensively. But this comeback win against the Falcons was very telling. Baker didn't have the most impressive statistical game. 14 for 29, 144, 2 touchdowns. So completion percentage under 50%, but he also didn't throw any picks.
Yeah.
So there's something to like there, and they've definitely got it figured out with Rachaad White. With how involved he is in their receiving game and with how involved he is in their rushing game. I mean, they have something good going with him. So I don't know. I'm kind of liking the Buccaneers in this one.
Yeah, my thing about the Buccaneers is that every team they've played this season, they just give them a chance to win the game multiple times throughout the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, the last 2 weeks they've won because they were playing against offenses that simply are not seizing opportunities. The Falcons last week, the Panthers the week before. But they lost to the Colts in a one-score game. They lost to the 49ers only by, 2 scores? Yeah, 2-score game to the 49ers, which, considering how good the 49ers are, that's not bad. But they get the big win over Tennessee because Tennessee wasn't playing well that day. And they lose to the Texans because the Texans simply can seize opportunities and so on and so forth. The Bills, obviously, the Lions. Like, those are the teams that beat the Buccaneers. Also, the Falcons beat them one time. It was a different offense. But I think that's my issue with the Buccaneers and how the Packers are playing right now. I think they can seize the opportunities. I'm going to take the Packers. Let's go 20-17.
All right, I'm going to take the Buccaneers 24-17.
Okay. Well, then let's move on to the next one. Texans, Titans. Big thing here. Nico Collins and CJ Stroud not looking good to play this week.
Ooh.
That puts them in a really bad spot. I don't think CJ has quite passed concussion protocol. That's obviously an issue. No practice for CJ or Nico or Will Anderson, for that matter, today, nor George Fant on the offensive line. So they're not looking good. But you have, Laramie Tunsil back in practice. He had a full practice Thursday. That's going to be a huge help. Dalton Schultz probably going to be back. He had 2 full practices this week. The Texans, obviously, they need CJ Stroud, no doubt. And they need Nico Collins as well. Without him, they can still beat the Titans. I think they could.
I don't know, man. Last week was so bad for Houston. I don't know if I really can believe in them. I mean, then again, there's not a big enough sample size, so we don't truly know. But on the Titans side, they looked absolutely fantastic against the Dolphins. Definitely. I mean, is it fair to say that this was probably the best Tennessee Titans game they've played all year long?
Yes. Yeah, I'd say.
I think so too. I mean, you have D-Hop, 7 receptions, over 120 yards and a touchdown. He looks like, old D-Hop in this game. Will Levis was fantastic. Probably his best game of his career so far. And Derrick Henry, wasn't that great at all at running the ball, but he did get 2 touchdowns. So, if that's what he needs to do, that's what he needs to do. I really, really like Tennessee in this game.
Okay. Yeah.
And now, if we want to talk about playoff implications, sorry to cut you off. If we want to talk about playoff implications, if Tennessee wins, I think if they win, it'll put them only one game behind Houston, which is
Yep.
crazy to think about that Tennessee's still able to hang on. But I think Tennessee's going to have this one.
Okay. Yeah, my biggest thing is because the thing is the second CJ Stroud clears concussion protocol, he's starting.
Yes.
No ifs, ands, or buts. Davis Mills will not see the field if CJ Stroud is healthy. My problem is there a scenario where the Texans just sit CJ Stroud for the rest of the year?
Ooh. Probably not, right?
Why not?
Because they have a shot.
But they don't have a shot at a Super Bowl. You have a young guy who just had a pretty bad looking concussion.
Yeah.
Just let him chill.
Really?
I don't know. Like, if you win, you win. If you lose, you get a better draft pick. I think
Yeah.
the Texans should be thinking about that a little bit. Obviously, they want to win the football games. D'Amico Ryans wants to win the football games. With that being said, you got to make a business decision here because this is a draft class that you want to have a good pick in for sure. And I think that with how the Texans have, come this far, what CJ and Nico and Tank can all do for you. They're going to keep doing it down the road. I think you can kind of bet on that for those three. Why not add some more to this team, make it a more complete team through the draft, through the offseason, and actually come out looking like a contender? Because they've won big games, no doubt about it. They lost the first 2 games of the season. The Ravens, a super tough matchup. The Colts, just a wild, close game. I don't even really know what happened there. I can't remember that game at all. But you have the big win over the Jags, the win over the Saints. But then, you see the games, losing to the Falcons when they easily could have won that game, losing to the Panthers when they totally should have dominated that game. But then, a close one you win against the Bucks, a close one you win against the Bengals, and it's maybe there's hope, and then it drops right back off with a loss to the Jags, and then you play a close one with the Broncos, and you get the win, but you follow it up the next week. CJ gets hurt, Nico gets hurt early. That's where you see the collapse. What's the use in having CJ Stroud on the field, possibly not 100% without Nico Collins, without Tank Dell, and possibly missing an offensive lineman? That I'm just putting that out there as a possibility.
Yeah, I get that, but I think my rebuttal to that is the possibility, of making the playoffs with CJ Stroud or for
Yeah,
the Texans is immensely higher with CJ Stroud,
definitely.
obviously, right? And especially with them, they're second in their division, tied with the Colts at 7-6. I'll ask you this: do you think with all those injuries, but CJ Stroud plays, are they better than the Colts?
Oh man, see that's tough because the Colts just somehow have found a way to win every time, whereas the Texans can go into a game and people actually can think they'll win. The Colts are much different. The Colts, a lot of the wins they've gotten this season, first of all, haven't come against the best opponents because what their best win this season is the Ravens, and that game was fucking weird.
Yeah.
That, I think that was kind of before the Ravens found their identity this season. But like half their other wins, you look at them and it's okay, they beat the Texans before the Texans became what we're looking at them as now. They beat the Titans, the Panthers, the Patriots, the Bucks, the Titans. That doesn't translate well in my head.
Okay, that's fair, but I'm gonna go ahead and give a score prediction here. Um, without CJ Stroud, I'm gonna go Tennessee 24, Houston 14.
Okay, yeah. Without CJ, I'm gonna go uh Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee 20, Texans 17.
I like it.
All right, next game, Jets Dolphins. Is Zach Wilson capable of winning a game?
He did last week.
I know. Problem is the Dolphins, which they weren't capable of winning a game last week. Um, yeah, it's so hard to say that the Jets can win this game. That's where I'm at right now because the Dolphins just so clearly seem like they should just beat the brakes off them again.
Yeah, and I mean it wasn't too long ago when they played on Black Friday and they won 34-13 over the Jets.
Yeah.
I don't think Zach Wilson was playing in that game. Not that it means anything, but Zach Wilson is coming off of a fantastic game against Houston despite having the injury to CJ Stroud. Um, I don't know. This game is kind of weird going into it because of just these last weeks. You know, you have the Jets put up 30 points and only gave up 6. The Titans didn't even pass for a touchdown.
Yeah.
In their offense, they kind of had to rely on Raheem Mostert to do most of the work there. Ah, man. I don't know. This one's going to be tough. It's really concerning to me that Tua didn't throw a touchdown last week.
I agree.
And then he's going in to play a division rival.
Yeah, with a great secondary.
Yeah. Is Tyreek Hill going to be healthy? I know he was having
Pull
issues.
up the injury report. Pulled up a lot of injury reports today.
Yeah. A lot of.
Let's see. Did not practice Thursday.
Now that changes a lot.
Neither did
I
Devin
actually,
Achane.
I will. Neither did Evan Achane.
Yep.
You know, without Tyreek Hill, Devin Achane, I'm going to go Jets.
Oh,
Jets 24, Dolphins 21.
okay. I think even without both of them, even though I don't know, it's tough because, like, what is Tyreek's injury? Ankle. That is hard. Oh, man, this is tough. I'm still going to stick with the Dolphins. I'm going to take the Dolphins 21, the Jets 14.
All right.
All right, next game, Chiefs-Patriots. Chiefs are going to win, obviously, but it's not going to look good. The Chiefs suck. I want that, at least for the Chiefs. The Chiefs suck when it comes to the standard that we should be holding the Chiefs to, which is, reigning Super Bowl champions, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it, one of the best tight ends, possibly the best tight end ever. They should be playing better than 8-5, and some of the losses they've had are just brutal.
Patrick Mahomes, he must be the funniest quarterback to have as like the leader of your football team.
Yeah.
I mean, what a I get being mad, but you as a starting quarterback who's won Super Bowls, he just fucking like a little kid after the Bills game. Like it was actually like I get you're upset, but it was comically immature for me to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't want to dog on him because he's probably one of the greatest to ever play this sport. I'm going to give him his flowers. But damn, what a little vagina. Like just kind of a vagina after that loss to the Bills. I'm not going to lie. And then
word choice.
He wants
I
to
just have to say that.
My favorite part about all this though is he said in a press conference after the game, or it may have been a couple days ago. It may have been today actually. He said that the Kadarius Toney offsides or false start or whatever it was on that last play, he said that it affected Travis Kelce's Hall of Fame like status.
That's
Holmes
no way.
did.
There's no way he actually did that.
Yeah, he did.
I think you got tricked.
No.
Okay.
Bro, look it up. Look it up, dude.
I'm not going to look it up. It just sounds fake. You feel free to look it up, but I'm going to talk about the Chiefs real quick because, look, okay, Patrick Mahomes' reaction was unnecessary. I think that's pretty clear. It was immature. It was warranted. Kadarius Toney lined up offsides 4 times in that game. They called it one time. It happened to be what would have been, an entirely game-changing touchdown that ended up with Kadarius Toney with the ball. That was an insane play. Great work by Travis Kelce. Great work by Kadarius Toney for just being there. That offsides was no different than any of the other ones. So I'm not surprised by Mahomes being mad that they called it in that scenario and not the other three. But the way they acted about it, just kind of like totally, it's kind of like, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun type of thing where the Chiefs were super happy that they called a hold in the Super Bowl that shouldn't have been called. But because it was a high pressure situation, a game changing moment, they called it. And then you have James Bradbury being like, yeah, I held him after the game. This is literally that. This is literally Kadarius Toney was offsides, but they
Yeah.
shouldn't call it. No, you can't get it both ways. So,
Exactly.
I think that's how I see it there. The way I see this game, I want to stop talking about it. So, 28-7 Chiefs.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 17-7 Chiefs. Think it'll be a tough, really, really tough game for them.
Okay, let's move on to the next.
Yeah.
Giants Saints. Weird game. I'm sure something cool could happen. that's my
Who
take.
are the Giants and the Saints?
Yeah, precisely. Here, one team has a quarterback that's super fun to watch. A running back that is nationally loved. And the other team's the Saints. Uh, this
Yeah.
sucks. I
One
hate
team's
this game.
quarterback does this,
Yeah,
and the other one doesn't. That's all you
the
need to
other
know.
one can't stay on
Giants
the
by
field.
30.
The fact that you can pay
and when he's on the field,
you can pay $17 right now to go watch this game in person in New Orleans. That tells you
nice.
exactly how this game's going to go. I'm going to go Saints, maybe? No. Giants 17, Saints 14.
I'm gonna go Saints 17, Giants 14.
All right. You just don't believe in Tommy.
No.
Whatever. All right. Let's just move on.
Have you seen his agent?
Yes. Oh, my God, dude. They're literally just the Sopranos. That's
Yeah.
it's insane. But yeah,
Don't
I
sack
don't
Tommy DeVito.
I don't want to talk about the game anymore. I probably would like to talk about it much more than the next game, but we'll get into the next game. I have some things to say. Falcons, Panthers. This sucks. The over-under is set at 33.5. That's insulting, personally. But I understand it. Both of these teams are not in a good position right now. The Falcons, obviously, in a much better position because the Panthers have won one game. But the Falcons need this win 100%. They need it because the Panthers could, be a palate cleanser here after such a horrible, horrible outcome against the Buccaneers. But we finished the season Panthers, Colts, Bears, Saints. Winnable games. Once again, all winnable games. And considering how the Bucs finished the schedule, we have to win 4 games to win this division. That's how I see it right now. We have to win all 4. And obviously we're going to win this one. It's honestly, this is just like don't forget the task at hand. You got to win this week if you want to see next week.
I don't know. With you being a Falcons fan, are you not a little bit worried about this game? No. It's sneakily important, and I feel like
it's important.
Has potential to be a trap game.
And I hope
y'all could be falling into a trap here.
Gets clipped out of its ass if we lose. But for now, I'm not worried.
I'm not going to predict the Panthers to win. I just think it's weirdly possible this week.
Yeah, no, I agree, but
weirdly possible.
There's 0% chance I'm going to think any other way. I'm going to go Falcons 24, Panthers 10.
I'm going to go Falcons Falcons 20, Saints 7.
They're not playing the Saints, but all right.
Carolina Panthers, sorry.
All right, let's get into the 4 o'clock slate.
Okay.
Commanders Rams. This is going to be an offensive fucking shit show, I would assume. The Commanders are just going to throw the ball downfield a lot, probably get picked off a couple of times. It's in Sam Howell's bag, considering he has 18 touchdowns and 14 interceptions this year. And the
Yep.
Rams are going to pass in the first half and then run in the second half because that's what they do.
Yep.
I don't
That's
care
a
about this game at
pretty
all, though.
accurate.
Like, this game
No, I don't
doesn't
either.
seem like it matters in the slightest.
Nah, I mean, the God, the Commanders was so fun to talk about at the beginning of the season. Now you look at their last 2 games, 45-10, 45-15. To do some math for you, that's you scored 25 points and you gave up 90 in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You don't win football games that way. You gave up 31 the week before against the Giants and only put up 19. Yeah, you're fucked. Your season's over. At least we know that you can be promising. Your passing offense is amazing when it's on.
Yep.
But yeah, the Commanders have totally jumped off a cliff this season, and probably for good reason. Honestly, I like the Commanders tanking.
Yeah,
I hate tanking in general, but I like the Commanders tanking.
it's a good idea here. Look, the
Yeah,
Rams, like Kyron Williams, they figured something out there. And this game is going to be the Kyron Williams show. I got to feel like,
yeah,
obviously, the Commanders' secondary sucks, and I'm sure we'll see plenty of Puka, plenty of Cooper Cup. Kyron Williams is going to be the guy scoring the touchdowns in this game. So I'm going to take the Rams by a pretty big margin. I'm going to go Rams 30, Commanders 14.
yeah. I like that too. I'm gonna go 38-14. Yeah, when Cooper and Puka are both on, that's like top tier offensive football,
Yeah.
especially with Kyron Williams too running the ball. All Matthew Stafford has to do is not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And the Rams probably got this game.
And that shouldn't be hard against the Commanders. But let's move on to the next one, 49ers, Cardinals. Do we have
Ugh.
to say anything? The 49ers are absolutely ridiculous. Pretty close to being like undisputed best team in the NFL, I'd say.
Who's better?
I think there's an argument for the Ravens, and that's it. But
Not the Cowboys.
yeah, there's an argument for the Cowboys, I'd say. The only
I
problem
mean, the 49ers
is
did beat the Cowboys.
yeah, I was about
but
to say that argument is just immediately voided by 42-10. But that was also week 5. Like, what is amazing for the 49ers is that this season they've gone on just 2 separate 5-win streaks, and that's put them at 10 wins. They lose those 3 games in a row where it just seemed like nothing could go their way, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, just the Jags was just a bounce back. They needed the bye week after the Bengals. They come out and they just beat the shit out of the Jags, and I think that's just propelled them forward. But they've got the Cardinals this week. I don't think they're all that worried. I think that's safe to say. They could catch themselves in a closer game than they'd like because they might be pulling a little, let's look ahead. You're playing the Ravens Monday Night Football on Christmas Day.
Woo.
That's going to be a tough one, and I think that's how the 49ers could slip up this week against the Cardinals, is just kind of accidentally overlooking them.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you never can overlook your division rivals, but when you have McCaffrey, who doesn't even need 20 carries to get like 120 yards, he can do it in under.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy never turns the ball over, completes most of his passes, and can throw for like 350 yards. And then Deebo Samuel with 2023 Brandon Ayuk is just unfair.
Yep.
I haven't even mentioned George Kittle. I haven't even mentioned what McCaffrey can do in the pass game either. It's unfair, and I think the NFL should divide these players up and spread them among the league. And I mean, just give a couple to the Steelers would be cool.
Nah.
Um,
Nah.
I honestly, Kyler Murray just has to try not to get hurt this game. I mean, that's really
Yeah.
that's really it for the Cardinals. I could totally, as grim as it sounds, this sounds to me like the perfect game for Kyler to get hurt again.
I agree.
Having to run around, pocket shredded.
Yep.
The guy's a lot bigger than him, trying to make a tackle on him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to go 49ers. I'm going to give the Cardinals some points, though. I'm going to go Cardinals are going to score 17, but the Niners are going to score 28.
Yeah. Man. I'm going to go 49ers 31, Cardinals 14. And I'm also just going to throw in there that Kyler Murray is going to throw 2 picks because he's going to do his little run in circles, throw it with my eyes closed over the middle of the field. And with those linebackers and safeties, that's not going to fly.
Yeah, D-Hop got to be over there somewhere. Oh, wait. He doesn't play for us anymore.
Nope. You have Hollywood Brown and Greg Dortch. Trey
And
McBride
probably Marvin Harrison
is awesome.
soon.
Trey McBride's
Trey
awesome.
McBride is amazing. Yeah.
But that's all there is to talk
Yeah.
about the Cardinals. So let's move on. Cowboys, Bills. This game is going to be awesome.
Ooh,
I think
man.
it's going to be fucking cold as shit in Buffalo.
Yep.
But you have the Cowboys, who are 3rd in total touchdowns, the Bills, who are 6th in total touchdowns this season. You have the Cowboys, number 4, the Bills, number 5 in yards per game. This is going to be an offense one. The big decider is the fact that the Cowboys have one of the best defenses in the NFL, especially when you take out the outlier of giving up 42 points to the 49ers and you look at the points they're giving up this season. It's like remarkable how well that defense has actually played. Like holding multiple opponents to 10 or less, you hold what? They've got 5 games where they've held their opponents to 10 or less points. That is phenomenal. So,
yeah,
I think that's the big deciding factor because, like, these offenses work pretty well. They work kind of similarly, where, like, Dak, Josh Allen, they're going to dominate in the passing game. Obviously, Josh Allen runs the ball himself quite a bit, but they both have a solid running back who does a good job, some good backup running backs that do a good job. But what it all comes down to is the play of their quarterback and wide receiver 1. And CeeDee Lamb has been playing insane, absolutely out of his mind. Stephon Diggs doesn't seem to be on the same level as CeeDee Lamb this year.
No, not at all. And, I like what you brought up about the Dallas defense kind of being the separating factor because, I mean, we know what Buffalo's offense is capable of. They've, put up 32 against the Jets and I think 34 against Philly and then 20 against Kansas City. So, they have 3 weeks in a row where they've played really, really well. They put up a lot against Philly, but I honestly kind of think the Dallas defense is a little bit different than Philly. I would give Dallas the defensive edge over Philadelphia. And, we've seen games where Buffalo's offense has been shut down before. And I kind of think that's what's going to happen in this game. It's going to be high scoring. They're just not going to be able to keep up with the Cowboys. I'm going to go 31-20 Cowboys.
Okay. Yeah. I think, considering both these teams are playing for really big spots right now, like the Bills are currently out of the playoff picture, but, you pick up some wins here at the end of the season, all of a sudden you find yourself in a playoff spot because you've got the Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. You can for sure win 2 of those, Chargers and Patriots. Well, I guess they did lose to the Patriots earlier this year, but somehow the Patriots have gotten worse, which is hard to believe because nobody believed in them to win that game in the first place. They win it. They still suck afterwards, but probably going to beat the Chargers. Then it comes down to if you get a win this week, because if you can win this week and you can win the next 2 weeks, you're at 10 wins. You feel pretty comfortable. Obviously, you'll want another win over the Dolphins there at the end. But Buffalo has a huge chance. The Cowboys are going to be on edge for the rest of the season. They have to fend off the Eagles for the rest of the season, no matter what, no matter who they're playing. It just comes down to winning football games for the rest of the year. The Cowboys have done a great job of it. I think the conditions are going to be in play. I think the Bills upset, which they're technically not
Wow.
upsetting because they're a 2-point favorite in this game. But
What?
that's home field advantage for you. Considering Cowboys have played the last 3 weeks in a dome in Texas, they're going to be playing outdoors in Buffalo at 36 degrees at game time. Sun's going to go down during that game. It's not going to be fun to play that
Oof.
fourth quarter. Um, yeah, I
Mm.
think the Bills are going to win. I'm going to take them. Take them. Bills 28, Cowboys 27.
Wow. And I had 31-20 Cowboys.
Okay. Well, let's get into Sunday Night Football. Another great
Whew,
matchup.
a doozy.
Another great matchup, especially when you look at the stats. The Jags, the ninth best passing offense, while the Ravens are the fourth best passing defense. The Ravens are by far the best rushing offense, and the Jags are the fourth best rushing defense. This is
Damn.
straight up unstoppable force meets, an immovable object. This is
Yeah.
going to be a fantastic game. It's in Jacksonville, but I don't think the home field advantage plays quite as big of a role when it comes down to that, especially playing in Florida. It's going to be a cool 62 degrees game
Oh,
time.
perfect.
That's beautiful weather. And also, Lamar Jackson from Florida. That plays. Lamar Jackson's going to go off in this game for sure. And the Jags just won't be able to keep up.
Yeah, I like that. I think this game is very similar to the game that Baltimore just played. I feel like LA and Jacksonville are very similar teams. Very, very similar teams, especially offensively. I could see another high scoring affair, but my only problem is Matthew Stafford gave him a good game and didn't turn the ball over. I think, Trevor Lawrence, with what we saw last week, he's going to throw maybe 1 or 2 picks in this game to Baltimore, especially with how good that passing defense is. I really, really like Baltimore over Jacksonville in this game. But I think it's going to be close, like I said. I'm going to go 28-21 Baltimore.
Okay. I'm going to go 28-24 Baltimore.
All right, we're very close there.
Yeah. And then it all comes down to Monday Night Football on December 18th. Eagles, Seahawks. The Eagles have to win, and I think they have the ability to just, at this point, go into a game knowing you can win and just come out as the winner. And considering their last 4 games are the Seahawks, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Giants, they need to show that ability because the Giants aren't going to be easy. The Cardinals, maybe. But you never really know. I think like they actually have to win this game if they want to win the division. Is how I see it.
Seattle or Philadelphia?
Philly. Seattle's not winning this division.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good point. No, that's a great point.
yeah, like
Because I mean, they don't have to worry about the other 2 teams, but
Yeah.
their problem is that whoever makes the wild card in the NFC Beast is already a double-digit winning team.
Yeah. But what
So
the thing is that both teams have to win because you want to play the winner of the NFC South in the first round if you got to play in the wild card.
that
I
is
can
true.
guarantee you that.
That is true.
They want to play the winner of the NFC South. So, you got to win this game. The Seahawks just something's off. I know last week Geno was hurt, Drew Lock played. They actually played the 49ers pretty well.
They did.
I don't trust this team to show any shred of consistency.
No. No, not at all.
Yeah, and like
I mean, they've had games where they've been able to put up like 30 effortlessly, and then they've had games where Geno just can't do anything.
No.
Very, very hard to predict.
Like if you go and look, like they'll win a game like pretty well, and then they will get stomped the next time out. Like they won against the Giants 24-3, and then they lose a close one to the Bengals. They win a big one versus the Browns 24-20 right after the Browns are, coming off of the win against the 49ers, and then they come out and lose to the Ravens 37-3.
Yeah.
It's like they just simply cannot put up points one week and then do it again the next week. I don't know what the problem is,
Yeah.
but they've also lost 4 straight. All things considered, it was against the Rams, the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the 49ers.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense, outside of maybe the Rams, but that was a close one as well. I just don't see the Seahawks having much of a chance here to stay competitive long enough in this game. So I'm going to take the Eagles 27-20.
Yeah, I like you still predicting it a close game. I think this one's going to be very similar to whenever they played the Cowboys. I'm going to go. Do they have Geno this game?
I don't know. As soon as we're done talking about this game, I have breaking news.
Okay. Hang on, I want to find out about Geno. Feels really good. An hour ago, ESPN reported. So,
All right.
he was limited practice today. So I'm assuming their starting quarterback's going to play while their team is 6-7. They still might have a chance to make the wild card. With Geno playing, I'm going to go 34-28, high scoring game.
Okay.
I don't like Seattle at all, but I'm just following the blueprint that they've set for us to follow, which is score a lot, lose. Yeah. I mean, what you just said earlier, basically.
Okay.
That's what the Seahawks are going to do.
I'm going to go Eagles 28, Seahawks 20. Oh, wait. I already said my score
You're changing
prediction,
your
and I
score.
just totally changed it.
You just gave them one more point.
I'm flipping it back. 27-20.
Okay.
Back to what I said.
Nice.
27-20. Mainly because I need Jake Elliott to kick some field goals this week. All right. Breaking news alert right now on my phone. The Rays sending Tyler Glasnow and Manuel Margot to the Dodgers. Fuck. Oh, man. I hope he sucks. I do. As much as I love Tyler Glasnow,
No,
he needs to suck.
we like Tyler Glasnow on the podcast, Grayson.
I know.
Damn it, man. God.
Yeah. And all they got in return, Ryan Pepio and Johnny DeLuca.
Oh, my God.
What the fuck just
All right,
happened?
so Tampa doesn't care about winning in 2024.
I think they just don't care about paying for medical bills.
Yeah. Tyler Glasnow's giving them a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Fuck. Oh.
God, that's such a good trade for LA, though.
I know.
Oh, my God.
Good. Maybe they're not going to get Yamamoto now? Is that fair?
Yeah, I guess it really is the 2 New York teams for Yamamoto now, huh?
Yeah. Maybe.
That's what it's looking like.
Or the Dodgers just going to get him, too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Damn.
Well, I guess that's a great segue. We just wrapped up.
Yeah.
Thursday Night Football hasn't started yet. It starts in a couple minutes, so we'll give you guys updates when we can. I'm not really too worried about previewing Chargers Raiders 5-8 versus 5-8. So
backup quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're simply not talking about that game.
Oh, wait, fantasy lineup. Oh my God.
Oh,
I have Herbo.
Players from either team. Better fucking move, boy. The game starts at 8:15.
I'm trying.
Hope you got a quarterback.
All I have to do is put him on the bench and I'm fine. I don't right now. But Herbo is off my bench now, so I can breathe. Wow, that was close.
That would have been really bad.
I'm on a 2-game losing streak too. I need all that I can get.
What quarterbacks are out there? We're gonna have a fantasy football discussion real quick.
Dude, should I honestly pick up Jake Browning? Out of all these guys in our league, do I need Jake Browning or Russ?
What about Levis?
I don't know. You know what?
I'd get.
You know what?
I'm just saying.
I'm not getting Russ either.
What?
I'm getting someone who's better than all of those guys.
Tommy DeVito?
Nope, better than him.
Nobody's better than him. Ask Twitter.
Bro, I'm going Flacco, dog. against Chicago.
Oh, oh, damn. Even though they just shut down the Lions?
Yeah,
All right. We'll see how that
I'm going
goes.
Flacco, man.
Interesting. All right. Well, you're going to have to live and die by that one. It's
I
all
know.
recorded. So,
It is recorded.
yeah, you can't lie now. Flacco's your
Hmm.
guy.
Flacco's my guy.
Huge Joe Flacco fan.
Now, yeah.
Why? He's still in your division.
He is still in my division. It's cool to see
Yeah,
a
no,
guy
that's
that I
fair.
used to watch all the time play.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Baseball.
Top 5.
Baseball time. Yeah. Top 5 shortstops. Um, let's just go ahead and get into it. You got to play 81 games as shortstop. We'll go ahead and say that. But I think this one, I think there was a clear 1 in my mind, and there was a clear 2. There's about 7 guys eligible for 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
so much that you could choose from there. So we'll start at 5 and see how this goes. Who's going first?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Number 5 is where I took Bo Bichette. He was the only shortstop besides Seager that hit over 300 batting average. And I also wanted to highlight that he was kind of a defensive liability in 2022, and he became a plus defender in 2023. And I really like that growth. And he was a big deal for his team, in the Blue Jays. He was definitely one of their best players this season, aside from Vladdy. So I went Bo Bichette, number
Okay.
5.
I went Dansby Swanson, number 5. Easily the worst hitter on my top 5 this season. His numbers just dramatically decreased his first year in Chicago, but the glove was phenomenal. Literally was not a better defensive shortstop, but I'm always going to have quite a bit more value for the offense. He just simply did not do enough on offense. The fact that in this new stolen base kind of boosted era that we're in now, the fact that Dansby Swanson only stole 9 bases is insane. He should be getting on base more than 328. He should be, honestly, his batting average should be way higher than 244. But he has a good glove. That puts him in at 5 for me.
Yeah, Dansby almost made my list, but it was between him or Bo for me.
Fair enough. All right. Who's it for?
Number 4, I have J.P. Crawford, career best this season in hard hit rate, barrel rate, and average exit velo. He was also an amazing defender all year long, 5.1 WAR. He was absolutely solid. He made my number 4.
That is a fantastic, fantastic pick. JP unfortunately didn't make my list, but I had him at 6. I had Dansby just over him.
Okay.
So I got Bo at 4. You bat over 300, you're going to get some respect from me. And though his defense isn't fantastic, like you said, he showed some growth. And considering how good he was for the first couple months of the season, the fact he was able to actually sustain that form throughout this season was phenomenal. Obviously there was a little bit of a drop off, but you're striking out under 20%. He's got to walk more. That's my biggest gripe with Bo Bichette's offense this season. He's got to walk more. 4.5% walk percentage is simply not okay.
Yeah.
When you're not a power hitter, you only hit 20 home runs, and you just simply have to show better plate discipline. Because like it's acceptable for like Dansby. Dansby struck out 24% of the time, but he walked 10% of the time. So he essentially made up for all of it with that. You can't strike out almost 20% of the time and only walk not even 5% of the time. That's simply not going to be good enough. But he still had a great year, and I'm certainly not going to, bring him down a rung for that. So he came in at 4, but it was close, very close.
Okay, yeah. Number 3, I went with Francisco Lindor. Into my number three. First Silver Slugger since 2018. He had it this year. He also joined the 30-30 club for the first time in his career and finished with a 6-point WAR. And Grayson, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is he the best Met shortstop of all time?
Uh, maybe. He's better than a Med Rosario. He's better than a Danny Echeverria. He's better than Javier Baez, of course, but he kind of played second base there. I can't even think of any other Mets shortstops. I'm going to be honest. I'm sure there's somebody that was better than Lindor. If I had to guess.
Let's see, Mets famous shortstops. Do we want to? Is he better than Jose Reyes? Jose Reyes was pretty good.
Prime Jose Reyes, definitely not better than him. At the moment. Obviously, Lindor had years with the, then Indians, where he was better than prime Jose Reyes. Right now, no.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the four that they're saying here on MLB is Ray Ordonez.
Oh, yeah. That also makes sense.
He was good. Bud Harrelson is on this list as well, and Ahmed Rosario, who you said.
Fair enough. All right, well, let's.
Yeah, I don't know.
Continue.
Jose Reyes was crazy.
Yeah, he was sick. Are you done or?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Francisco Lindor, my number 3.
All right. So with the way your list is going, you have left off one of two people, and it's going to upset me. So my number 3 is Gunnar Henderson. He actually works for both shortstop and third base, which is amazing because he might just make the third baseman's list. I don't know yet. Haven't put it together. But Gunnar Henderson was actually fantastic, especially considering he was a rookie. He batted .255. That's better than Dansby. He was on base .325. That's better than Bobby Witt Jr., who I would assume we're both going to talk about. I am. I know that was kind of a spoiler, but he had one of the best slugging percentages, better than Dansby and Bo Bichette, and he was a rookie, and he had a 4.6 WAR at shortstop. That's amazing for Gunnar Henderson. He had one hell of a year. He scored 100 runs, which is an underrated thing about him because it just kind of shows he's getting on base, but it's in good situations. He's smart on the base paths. He had a 5.2 base running rating by Fangraphs. That's one of the it's the second best among the 5 shortstops I have on my list. And he genuinely just had one hell of a season. Obviously, he won Rookie of the Year because of it. So he comes in at number 3 for me.
All right, I like that. Number 2, I took Bobby Witt Jr.
Same.
Guy was crazy this year, dude.
Yep.
I mean, walk rate from 4.7 to 5.8 from 2022 to 2023. 30 home runs, 96 RBIs. That's pretty ridiculous. 49 steals as well. I mean, he was absolutely ridiculous on a very shitty Royals team, and I feel like that's kind of why he got overshadowed a lot, but he was absolutely fantastic. He had below average defensive metrics in 2022, but he managed to, pretty much improve on them quite well. Still not the best defender, but took a significant step forward in 2023. So, yeah, he was fantastic, and I wish he played on a different team.
Yeah, I think his defense actually wasn't that bad. I think he played a pretty good shortstop, which obviously is where he played the most of his games. He played a couple of games at third, and he can play third base, but shortstop's where it's at for him. But 30, 40, almost 30, 50 is insane for him. Second year in the MLB, and you're doing that, like that is phenomenal. That's kind of like how Ronald Acuna was a homer shy of 40-40 his second season in the MLB. Like that's the kind of stuff you want to see out of a rising young talent, and he is certainly that and showed it this year. Love to see the walk rate go up a little bit more. 5.8% just isn't quite great, but keeping the K percentage down is nice. And just playing good baseball. And maybe the Royals are trying to win some games. They've picked up Seth Lugo and Will Smith. Will Smith, known winner. So,
Yeah, where Will Smith goes, he wins.
yeah. Well, it's now obvious who number one is for both of us. Possibly a
Yeah,
World Series champion, World Series
yeah,
MVP.
probably
And
your AL MVP runner-up, maybe
yeah,
could have been.
probably that too. Yeah, it's Corey Seager. The guy's insane. And he played the least games out of this whole list of guys. He hit the most home runs. He was tied for the most RBIs amongst the players on my list. He had one of the highest walk percentages, the lowest strikeout percentage. Like, this guy is actually ridiculous. And forgot to add this in, he batted 327. And I know he didn't play quite as many games as the other guys, but he also was on base 390, slugging 623.
Ooh,
That is ridiculous. A slugging percentage
yeah,
of 623,
from a
especially,
shortstop
yeah,
too.
being a shortstop. Then again, his defense sucks. Um, and he's even worse as a base runner. But he doesn't need to steal bases. It doesn't matter what his base running's like because the guy is just extra base hit machine.
Yeah, and to add what you said, or to what you said, 6.9 WAR, fantastic. Still played 119 games despite dealing with those small injuries all season long. So, you know, he may have played the least amount of games out of anybody on our list, but he was still like I would consider him a super durable player.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was absolutely fantastic this year. He was by far the best shortstop in the league. Wasn't even close.
Yep. I definitely agree. Well, that's a list. That is the top 5. Nobody's
Oh,
allowed to
wait, wait,
argue.
wait. A surprise number 1. It's Anthony Volpe.
Oh, what? 1A
I'm
and
just kidding.
1B, Anthony Volpe and Corey Seager. Honorable mention,
Yeah.
Orlando Arcia
Uh,
for like the first couple months of the season.
Honestly, yeah.
Honorable mention.
That was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. He might not have even played enough games. I don't even know. Any other honorable mentions? We'll give Volpe an honorable mention. We can give anybody an honorable mention.
Yeah. Derek Jeter.
Yep.
Give him an
Mookie
honorable
Betts.
mention.
Mookie Betts. I think he played 9 games
Yeah.
at shortstop.
Yeah.
He can get an honorable mention.
Yeah, and then I guess really the only last thing I'd have to say is the only reason that Gunnar Henderson probably didn't make my list is because I considered him a third
Gotcha.
baseman. I know he can play shortstop. I just
Yeah.
honestly had no clue he did it this season.
Yeah.
I'm
So
being completely honest.
maybe it's a flaw in my system, but I did games played at shortstop and not games started at shortstop. I think he played 86 games at third and 83 games at shortstop, which doesn't
Wow.
add up. But he was moving around with defensive substitutions. So
Yeah, just going a couple feet over.
yeah, yeah, and doing a great job. So shout out
Yep.
Gunnar Henderson. All right, it's time to talk some soccer.
Yeah, let's do it.
I
Some sacker.
yeah, talk like you're from fucking Minnesota. All right,
Ooh.
let's do it then. Premier League weekend. Some good matchups, whole lot of bad ones as per usual. So we'll start off with the bad one. Newcastle versus Fulham. Technically, top half of the table matchup. Number 10 versus number 7. Maybe some bias in why this game's on the prep sheet. Look, I want to talk about Newcastle. We've lost 3 straight games in all competitions. I don't know what to say. We just I don't know what the fuck this the deal is right now. Like, that fucking loss to Tottenham was gut wrenching. And then losing to Milan when literally the scenario lined up perfectly for us. If we would have won by 1 or 2 goals, we would have made the knockout stages. And instead, we go home with nothing. We get fucking knocked out. We're 4th place because of fucking Christian Pulisic scoring a goal. Why? Why did he have to do anything? Why did Milan have to do anything at all? Because they were going to have to score fucking 5 goals or win by 5 goals just to make the knockout stages. Instead, they're going to go to the Europa League. They're probably going to fucking win the Europa League, which is going to piss me off even more because it could have been us. Instead, we're look, we're sent back to England with one goal in mind, which is now finishing top 4 and going back to the Champions League next year. Hopefully, Eddie Howe and just the fact that that all happened can light a fire under these guys' asses. But right now, we are playing the worst we've played in probably over a calendar year.
Yeah.
3 straight losses. One of them a 3-0 loss to Everton. The next one a 4-1 loss to Tottenham, and now a 2-1 loss to Milan. This is easily the worst they've played in a while. And I think part of that, obviously, injuries. We have been missing players for the last couple of weeks, and it is killing us. Like, just in the AC Milan game, we have Botman still out. Obviously, Nick Pope's gone for most of the rest of the year. Willock's still out. Jacob Murphy's still out. Harvey Barnes still out. Like, and the list goes on. You know, I'm glad to see at least something closer to our normal lineup rollout, but still, like, why is Alexander Isaac not starting over Callum Wilson in this lineup right now? I still don't fully understand what's going on with Bruno Guimaraes because he's just simply not playing great. Like, he always plays great. Right now, he's playing okay, and for him, that's not good enough. Like, Lewis Miley's playing well, and Joelinton is playing great right now. He's been the only guy that showed a shred of life since Nick Pope got hurt. And yeah, I simply don't get it. Like, the defense is just not playing well enough right now, and I think Guimaraes is struggling alongside them.
Yeah. And on the Fulham side, they just beat West Ham 5-0.
Yeah.
That West Ham team that, you and I like a lot, just dismantled them. Paqueta was actually moved back to Cam. I think we talked about last week where he played on the wing. West Ham lined up weird. I haven't seen them line up like this all season long whenever they played Fulham, but Fulham just completely took advantage. I mean,
Yeah.
beat them through and through.
Yeah.
There was not a single part of the game that Fulham lost, and they're catching Newcastle at the perfect time. Will it be enough to get them over the hump that is Newcastle? Because Newcastle still are a force to be reckoned with, at least I believe. I don't know. I'm actually kind of leaning towards yeah. I think Fulham's going to come away with this one. I don't know how Newcastle are going to get it back on track, and I don't know when they'll get it back on track. So I'm going to take Fulham 1-0.
Okay. Sorry. More baseball breaking news just dropped. Jack Flaherty to the Tigers. 1 year, $14 million.
Well, see you later, Jack Flaherty.
Yep.
Forever.
Yeah, it's too bad. Yeah, nothing else to say about that. Good luck in Detroit, Jack. Yeah, look, Fulham, not only did they beat West Ham 5-0 last week, the week before that, they beat Nottingham Forest 5-0, which is wild. So, yeah, 10-0 goal differential in their last 2 games brought them all the way back to a 0 goal differential in the Prem.
Wow.
So, yeah, they covered some ground there. And honestly, like, the fact that this team has lost 7 games and finds themselves in a position of, like, actually moving up the table is frightening, but also shows me that, like, this team is just simply in, strong form at the moment. But they can be stopped, and they have been stopped multiple times, honestly, more times than they've won. Newcastle is just in such a weird spot right now. It's so hard to choose. I trust the fact that we can score goals. That's one thing I'm confident in. And I think we have at least enough to slow down Fulham. I'm going to say we take it 2-1.
All right.
That's not the most confident 2-1, but it's 2-1 nonetheless. The next game, though, one of the best of the weekend, probably the best of the weekend, Arsenal versus Brighton. Brighton has kind of fallen down the table a little bit. They find themselves in 8th place, coming off of a draw with Burnley, which is certainly not a good look. But this team can play so well when they need to. But Arsenal kind of does the same. Despite the loss to Aston Villa, who's easily the hottest team in the Prem right now, Arsenal has been playing great up until that point. The close win over Luton Town was interesting, but showed some good stuff out of them. This game is going to go a little bit different, though. I think Brighton might have themselves a chance to just beat the shit out of Arsenal.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we are kind of seeing an Arsenal team that's wavering, but we haven't seen, to me, that Brighton team that could beat the shit out of Arsenal. Like maybe first couple weeks I would have told you, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if they can do it at this stage. Because they have been kind of average. Yeah, I don't know. Brighton's just going to have to score a lot if they want to win this game. I think they're going to need 2+ goals. I think if they're going to want to win.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to take Arsenal 2-1.
Okay, I'm going to take Brighton 1-0.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really know why. If you asked me, I couldn't explain it. I just like Brighton in the matchup. Nothing else.
Yeah,
I kind of
that's fair.
I want there to be at least a day where Aston Villa is number 1 in this table. It would be hilarious.
I don't know if City keeps slipping, you might have it.
I know.
You
I
might
know.
have it.
Fucking Man City's got 1 win in their last 5.
Erling Haaland's just so mid. It's really what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. For sure. But
wow.
speaking of mid, Manchester United plays this weekend. And they take on Liverpool at Anfield. Yeah, look, Liverpool should clobber Manchester United.
Yeah, Liverpool in their last game versus Crystal Palace, they beat them 2-1 with a red card. How about their center back that Liverpool played? I'm trying to figure out if he got subbed on. Yeah, Kwanzaa?
What?
Gerald Kwanzaa came on for a Ibrahim Konate in this game.
What game?
Never even heard of him before. Their last Prem game that they just played.
Oh, against Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kwanzaa. Nice. Never heard of him.
Yeah, I've never heard of him either, but yeah, shout out this guy for probably his first Prem game. Look, I like this Liverpool team. They are, after signing Gravenberg and adding Endo into the team, I know we like to shit on Endo a lot whenever he first got signed. Like pretty much every time he touched the field, Grayson and I were his biggest haters, definitely. But I feel like he's kind of settled in with this Liverpool team. He's definitely better than what he first started. And now, you have a Liverpool team that's incredibly well-rounded. Definitely not the best team in the Premier League, I would say, even on paper. But they, when Nunez is on, he's on. Mo Salah is one of the best players in Prem history. Luis Diaz is incredibly dangerous. And their midfield is so versatile with Endo, Gravenberg, and Soboslai.
Yep.
And their defense, it speaks for itself. Alisson, he can speak for himself too. Don't see a world where Liverpool cannot beat Manchester United. I'm going to go Liverpool 2-0.
Yeah, look, Manchester United, once again, very telling. Scott McTominay, leading goal scorer for this team. That's a fucking issue. And another issue is that they just lost to Bayern in the Champions League. They came last in their group. But also, they lost 3-0 to Bournemouth last week.
Yeah.
What happened? Couldn't tell you. They just simply can't score goals. They can't. And Liverpool is number 2 in the league in goals scored per match. I have to go with Liverpool here. And I'm going to take Liverpool 3-1.
Yeah, I like that. And, something else I wanted to point out about this Bournemouth game. It's really bad when you're having to start Anthony Martial again.
Yep.
Over Rasmus Højlund.
Yep.
Which, I mean, Højlund, granted, came on for Martial in the 56th minute, but still, it's just, it's not going well for them. You know,
Yeah.
even and I feel like Marcus Rashford, not to say that players deserve hate, but Marcus Rashford honestly deserves a lot of criticism for how he played last year. I mean, that he needs to be your guy to step up in this Manchester United team out of anybody.
Yep.
And he just hasn't.
I
I
think
mean,
we
been
also need to
non-existent
blame
all year
Bruno.
long.
You got to blame Bruno Fernandes being the worst
Oh, for
captain
sure.
in the Premier League and
Yeah.
simply just not playing up to the expectations ever. He never
No.
does.
No.
Like, I don't understand how he has become so highly regarded over the last couple of years. Like, I know he's gotten the assists and he's a clinical penalty taker, but how often are those, instances even arising for him?
Yeah,
That's my
I know.
issue. So, yeah, look, Bruno Fernandes has been, in my opinion, one of the worst players on this team since Ronaldo left. Um, and I think he's the one that certainly deserves the most criticism. I know Rashford certainly hasn't stepped up, um, but I expect that out of a captain, not just the best player.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Cristiano Ronaldo versus Bruno Fernandes. Who would you rather have in this United team in 2023?
I'd obviously rather have Ronaldo because there's at least a shred of contribution coming from him.
Yeah, Ronaldo actually. This is actually very cool. There is a Messi versus Ronaldo tracker website, and in 2023, Ronaldo has 50 goals. Messi has 28. Ronaldo even has more assists than Messi does.
Hold on. No, stop. Messi didn't play soccer for 5 months.
And what was he doing?
Using his summer. And now their season's over. Their season's
Bro,
been over
Messi
for
barely
weeks.
he barely even plays, dog. Even whenever their season was on, he was just skipping
Bro,
games.
Ronaldo plays in a fucking elementary school league.
They have signed so many players
To
though.
four
Granted,
teams.
his
Four
team
teams
is
have
doing
players
more of
in
the
the Saudi
signing.
league.
Listen, all I'm saying is that like 2023 Ronaldo is so much better than Messi. It's not even close.
Bro, I'm about to pull up the teams that he's playing against. Because 4 teams have money in the Saudi league.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Messi's the GOAT, but 2023 Ronaldo way better than 2023 Messi.
Yes. If you count numbers correct, you're right. But also, Ronaldo has spent all of 2023 in Saudi Arabia, whereas Messi was playing for PSG, then took time off, and then the MLS season ended.
Yeah, he's just not a workhorse, I guess.
Okay. Well, he's never been a workhorse. He just kind of stands on the pitch and waits for the ball to get to him. But yeah,
Anyway, yeah,
hold on.
that's
I
Premier
need
League.
I need to just read off a lineup of a team that Ronaldo scored against recently.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, let's see. Al Nassr. Wow, it's crazy. The top 4 teams in the table are all owned by the PIF. Wow. All right. They won 2-5 over. Here we go. Al Shabab. I know 2 players on this team. And it's Yannick Ferrer Carrasco and Roman Seiss. That's it. I'm telling you right now, Burnley would beat 16 of the teams in the Saudi League.
And Burnley could probably go to the MLS and beat every single one of those
Yeah.
teams too.
Well, that's fair. I'm not talking shit on the MLS. I'm simply just talking shit on the Saudi League, only because I'm so aware of how bad the MLS is. All right, here we go. Here's a team I've never heard of a single fucking player on this team. It's FC Istiklal. I don't know anything about them. They drew with Al Nassr. Oh, Ronaldo didn't play. All right, asterisk. Never mind.
Asterix.
Oh, not a
Asterix.
workhorse. He didn't play. Okay, enough of that discussion. Shall we? Okay, well, first let's talk about the other matches this weekend. So Friday, Nottingham Forest Spurs, and you got Saturday, Bournemouth Luton. Nobody cares. Chelsea Sheffield United, Man City Crystal Palace, Newcastle Fulham, Burnley Everton. Then you go to Sunday, Arsenal Brighton, Brentford Aston Villa, West Ham Wolves, Liverpool Man United, and then we flip over to the next week, the last week before Christmas.
Yay, Christmas.
Or I guess yeah. Next week's the last week before Christmas. All right, let's get into the Champions League then.
Yeah,
Um,
let's do it.
so this was the final week of qualifying for the knockout stage. For some teams, it went great. For my team, it didn't. uh, but we did have some good results. So, Man City, 3-2 in Belgrade. It was an interesting one. Quite the home field advantage. Didn't really pan out, but in
Yeah.
fact, they even scored 2 goals on Man City. It's amazing. And then you had Atletico Madrid 2-0 over Lazio. That was a big one for qualification.
Yeah.
Celtic beat Feyenoord to get over 1 point.
Yeah.
Dortmund and PSG
Copenhagen.
drew.
Yep.
Newcastle obviously lost to Milan. Antwerp beat Barcelona. That was a big one as well. And Porto 5-3 against Shakhtar Donetsk, which is a wild result.
What
as
a
well.
game.
But on Tuesday, you had Lens beating Sevilla, making Sevilla come in 4th place. No Europe for Sevilla this year. And no Europa League win. That's for sure. And then PSV and Arsenal actually drew, which is wild. And then you had Bayern beating Man U. Copenhagen beat Galatasaray, so Copenhagen qualified for the knockout stages. And then Napoli beat Braga to further their lead in their group. Or not lead, I guess, clinched the 2nd spot because obviously Real Madrid won against Union Berlin. And then Inter and Real Sociedad actually drew. So I'll have to look at how that group panned out. But Benfica beat Salzburg. And that's all your results there. Yeah, it's just it's over. And now we have to start talking about groups, qualification, seeding, all that shit. So your 1 seeds or, whatever, however they want to
Listen
call
to
it.
these Americans try to
Look,
talk about
no,
Champions League.
I'm literally talking about it based off of what the Champions League's website says, which is that the teams that won their groups are seeded, the runner-ups are unseeded.
Okay.
So, your seeded teams, Bayern, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Real Sociedad, Atletico Madrid, Dortmund, Man City, and Barcelona. Those are your seeded teams.
One team just doesn't sound right in there.
Yeah, it might be Man City. But it
I was thinking
is-
Real Sociedad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Real Sociedad, but they're just playing
Yeah.
great right now.
They're playing phenomenal. Yeah.
They're not in the top 4 though in La Liga because Girona is number 1 right now in La Liga. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Someone just stop that.
Isn't it? So your unseeded teams, your 2nd place in the groups are Copenhagen, PSV, Napoli, Inter, Lazio, PSG, Leipzig, and Porto. So the way it works, these teams, so you can't face, or you can't draw a team that you already played in the group stage. So that knocks out whatever. But you also cannot play a team from the same nation as you. So,
Okay.
what matchups from the qualified teams are you most looking forward to possibly happening? Obviously, we won't see a matchup of let me find an example. Oh Jesus. I'm struggling right now.
Like Bayern Dortmund, we wouldn't see.
Correct.
Bayern
But that
Copenhagen,
also
we wouldn't
couldn't
see.
help. Yes, Bayern Copenhagen, we won't see, obviously. But dude, did none of these line up? Okay, we won't see Bayern or Dortmund versus Leipzig. There we go. That's an actual example that could have been drawn. It's not going to be. But The draw is on the 18th, and the round of 16 actually doesn't start till February.
No way.
Yeah, so we've got quite a long break
Wow.
until the round of 16 starts, but it's gonna be fun. Any matchups that you want to see? I got some in mind.
Give me like, I don't know, City Bayern, City Real
Well,
Madrid,
the number
or you
ones
can't.
can't match up, so it'd have to be a number
The
one
number.
versus a number two,
Okay.
in all those matchups.
How about fucking dang? There are 3 Italian teams that finished second.
Yeah, I know.
Lazio, Inter, and Napoli all finished second.
Yeah,
That makes things a little bit tough. How about I feel like Bayern Napoli could stack up well. They're
I
both
like
pretty
that.
high octane, work rate teams. I
Yeah,
feel like that'd be a good game.
yeah. I wanna see Man City versus PSG because I want Man City to knock them out.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I guess. I would also like to see um, Dortmund versus Inter. I think that would be a good matchup as well.
Dortmund, Inter, yeah.
And then
What
Real
about
Madrid.
Leipzig, Barcelona?
I don't hate that either. Um,
Yeah.
actually, I really like that matchup. Or Leipzig Arsenal.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good matchup as well.
Ooh, Barcelona, Napoli.
That'd be really good.
Yeah, I would enjoy that.
I'm trying to think of I guess Real Madrid versus Leipzig would be good. I think Real Madrid versus Inter would be a great matchup as well.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Or even Atletico Madrid versus Inter. You know what? Every single possibility is gonna be great.
Honestly, it is.
That's how I feel right now. Um,
Porto, Arsenal.
maybe could be
Yeah,
good. Porto versus Man City will not be
yeah.
good. 100% won't be good. All right. Anything else? I know we didn't really get to talk about much, but there's not, much to talk about other than that the draw is next week, and we'll see how it goes.
No, I'm just itching for these Reddit questions, man.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Well then, without further ado, I guess we'll get into the first ever Reddit questions time. So the way it goes, if you guys put questions on the Second and Short Reddit, which you can find, um, I just pulled it back up on the screen, r/Second and Short. It's right under Luke's face. Um, you can obviously submit your own questions. I already took it off the screen, so you're just doing something weird. Um,
I'm biting it.
I
Oh, you already took it off
understand.
the screen.
Yeah. But
Gnashing at it.
this week, Nathan was kind enough to leave us some questions on the Reddit. So let's start with we'll just maybe go through all of these. There's quite a few, but we'll go ahead and just go through all of them. Who is the most dominant team of all time in any sport?
Oh my god. Dominant team all time, any sport. Is it? But see, this could be. Is it like a season or like an era?
Just whatever you'd like. Obviously, there's no rules because it's Nathan's question, so it's simply up to interpretation.
The Bulls team that won like 70 games is still pretty impressive to me.
Yeah.
Or not the Bulls, the Warriors.
Oh, the
Sorry, the Warriors
Warriors that
team
won
that just did it.
73?
Yeah,
Yeah, 73 and 9.
yeah, or maybe it was 72. But yeah,
No, it was
that's honestly
73
the
and 9,
first
I
one that
remember.
comes to. Okay, that's
Bulls
the
were
first one that
72
comes
and
to
10.
mind.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
thinking, the Arsenal undefeated team in the early 2000s. That was certainly a dominant
yeah,
team.
for sure.
Um, I think of obviously the Patriots didn't win the Super Bowl that year, but when they went undefeated in the regular season, got all the way to the Super Bowl, lost to the Giants, but that was one hell of a run. Um, I'm thinking UGA last year.
Really?
Yeah, last year's Georgia team. I think 2019's LSU football team.
Yeah,
There's a lot to choose from
there
when
is.
you think of like all sports because man, there's so many to think of. I wonder if there's just like some small team sport that we haven't talked about. Like, how about this? The 2015 Women's World Cup team from the U.S.
That
That
was
was
a
a
good
dominant
team.
team.
That was a
Um,
really good team.
all right, well, let's move on to the next question because I'm kind of out of
How about
ideas. Oh,
2014 World Cup Germany?
that was a dominant team as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, top
yes,
three
sir.
holidays. Go now.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July.
In that
In
order,
that order.
which way?
1, 2, 3.
Okay. All right. I like it. I definitely
What
like
about you?
it. I'm
You've already thought too long.
yeah, no. I enjoy. Okay, so I'm gonna go New Year's number one.
Ooh, okay.
I'm a college football guy. You got the college football playoff semifinals and the New Year's Six Bowls.
Yeah,
That's the big one. New Year's Eve, I guess, would be the holiday that I like. Um,
yeah.
like the moment last year, Ohio State misses the game-winning field goal as the clock hits midnight on the East Coast. Like, you can't write better TV than that. Um,
No.
and like, so definitely New Year's number one. Um, I'm obviously not a huge Christmas guy, being half Jewish. We always kind of just like we did it as like kids. We did it. Now it's like not a big deal to me. Now that I'm like an
Uh,
adult. But Thanksgiving's where it's at. Thanksgiving is goated.
yeah,
Thanksgiving number two, once again, because of sports, football,
yeah.
on family, food, like that's amazing. Um, and I'm gonna just pick one that you simply have no experience with, Hanukkah. Um,
Yeah, I wouldn't
8
know.
nights. How can you beat a holiday that's 8 days? I guess with one that's longer, but
So, can you explain to me and the viewers? So, you have
I
a
don't know
a
much.
holiday that spans multiple days,
Yeah.
right? Do you do something different every night, or
Uh,
what do you do on these
it's all
nights?
kind of similar. So I don't know like all the stuff. I'm not, devout in that way, but you you have the menorah. It's got 9 spots for a candle technically. There's one primary. I don't know the names. Like there's names for each different candle and stuff. I don't know that
Yeah.
stuff. But each night you add a candle to the menorah. It signifies something. You light it, you let it burn throughout until it's burned itself all the way down.
Yeah.
There's a different prayer associated with I believe every night. But there's also
Okay.
one like primary one um as well. That's as much as I know or am
Okay.
willing to guess.
No, I mean that's fair. I didn't know anything,
Yeah.
so that helped.
All right. Next thing though, favorite football player that nobody else would think of.
I would honestly have to go Martavis Bryant. His short stint with the Steelers, out of Clemson with D Hop, probably would have if he never smoked marijuana and kind of threw his NFL career away. The Steelers probably don't have to draft Juju, and the Steelers probably would have been fine with letting go of Antonio Brown. The dude was on pace. I believed in Martavis Bryant probably more than anybody else did. 6'5", fastest wide receiver on the team. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's fair.
And if you haven't seen it, 2015 wildcard game, I will never forget how when he fucking front flip caught the ball through the end zone versus Drake or Patrick. One of the best plays I've ever seen a wide receiver make. Martavis Bryant was sick when he was in his
Yeah.
prime.
All right. I like that. One of my favorite football players to watch that nobody would ever even think of probably Taylor Gabriel, slot
Mm.
receiver for the Falcons. I think he was
Was
only
he
here
out
for
of
like
Georgia?
2 years. I don't think so. I can't remember. But yeah,
Looking it up.
him Mohamed Sanu and Julio Jones were awesome, and I loved having like a speedy slot receiver. It was just great.
Mohamed Sanu was sick.
Yeah,
Mohamed Sanu was
touchdown
sick.
pass, God.
Undrafted out of Alabine Christian?
Abilene, Christian
Abilene.
in Abilene,
Abilene.
Texas,
Gotcha.
like where one of George Strait's exes resides. Abilene,
Oh,
Sweet Eileen.
shout out.
Yeah. All right. Well, this one is addressed to you. It says for Luke.
Oh gosh.
How can you trust Chris Boswell when Chris crossed applesauce? So who knows what he would do to you?
Wow, that's a really good question, Nathan.
Yeah.
None of the podcast time is wasted with that
Nope,
question.
not at all.
I look, I mean, Chris Boswell, this actually, you know what? I'm gonna turn
Make
it
this
into a good
into a
question
real
for Nathan.
question, please.
So, Chris Boswell, I genuinely think is one of the most overlooked kickers of our generation. Out of
Agreed.
Rice, he's been consistent almost his
Onside
entire
kick,
career,
insane.
except back it up now. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. He can't Rabona. I could probably teach him how to Rabona better, and that's
He did it
that's
well at
saying
Rice.
a lot.
He
Yeah,
pulled it
yeah,
off
he
at
did it at
Rice.
Rice. But yeah, I mean, I would say he's right up there with Justin Tucker. Really, maybe not stats wise, but
Yeah.
quality of a kicker. If you
I
want
think
someone who's
distance-wise
gonna
is where Tucker's got him.
for sure, and also Tucker is a better kicker in Pittsburgh than Boswell is too.
That's true.
So, yeah, he's been consistent, and I hope the Steelers have him until he's like in his 40s. I think that'd
Okay.
be awesome. I love Boswell.
All right. This one says top 3 worst trades in Yankees history. This one's also addressed to you. But
I don't know if I can
yeah,
think
that's
of.
what I was thinking. If you can think of any Yankees trades that you hate, have at it.
Hmm.
Because
Crap,
I
can I think
personally
of
can't think of
any?
any at the moment.
Let's look at New York Post article, the worst Yankees trades of all time,
Great. I love
real
the New York
fast.
Post.
Yeah. Rookie mistake, Fred McGriff
Yeah, to the Braves.
to the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't know. I feel like a lot of the worst Yankees trades would be like more historic, and I just
Yeah,
really don't know the ins and outs. I feel like the Yankees have not really been a trade team the past like recent years.
Yeah. Best
So
Yankees
I really don't know.
trade, getting Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
I think that one's safe to say.
Yeah, that one's pretty easy. Maybe
Yeah.
Juan Soto. Who knows? Who
All right,
knows?
that's true. All right, this one's for both of us. If you had 100 at bats to get on base against the new Dodgers team with Shohei on the mound, healthy, could you get on base? Or actually, sorry, could you get a base hit?
Well, you definitely could.
No.
Yes, you could.
No.
Yes, you could.
No.
100 at bats, you're getting on base.
100 at bats, I have no chance because the thing is that Shohei Ohtani could step up there and throw 3 pitches straight down the middle, 100 miles an hour. I'm not touching them. There is no way I touch it. And on the 100th at bat, he could go out there and throw 3 pitches straight down the middle, 94, and I'm not touching it.
Well,
Guaranteed.
I'm fucked.
I would literally
I am fucked.
If you made me get into a batter's box with Shohei Ohtani on the mound, I would cry.
100 at bats, I think you get on base 6 times.
I think you're out of your fucking mind.
You were a player, dog.
I played. I was not good, nor great, nor serviceable.
Okay, let me flip the question. You have prime Andrelton Simmons, right? You're playing first base.
Yep.
Prime Andrelton Simmons is gonna throw 100 like ground balls that he fields to you as hard as he can.
Yeah.
How many plays are you making?
Well, Andrelton Simmons was fucking amazing. I can catch a ball if it gets thrown at me. I'd say there's probably going to be a couple in the dirt I can't scoop. I'd say if I have 100 chances, I'll probably catch 79 of them.
Okay. Have
That's
you
where
ever
I'm
caught
going.
triple digits before? That's a genuine question.
No, no,
Well, it couldn't wasn't Simmons one of those shortstops that could pump triple digits
probably.
across the diamond?
Yeah, he maybe wasn't triple. He was probably mid 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, next question. Is there anyone in the
Let's see.
MLB who deserves a bigger contract than Shohei Ohtani?
Um, no.
No, not at all.
Uh-uh.
Do I
No.
think that there's a player at all in the MLB that deserves that big of a contract? No.
You could make a case for Acuna. I would go as
No.
far as to
No,
say that. With how young he is?
nobody, including Shohei Ohtani, deserves $70 million a year. I know he's not actually getting that paid, but if average annual value, not a single person deserves $70 million a year.
You don't even think Shohei deserves
No.
7 million.
Dude, there's a chance he
Wow.
doesn't pitch. There's a chance he never pitches again. And you have
That
a
is true. So
$700 million DH.
would you value him at like what, 450 if he never pitches again?
If he never
He's
pitches
still one of the
again,
best hitters.
I think he's a 500.
Okay.
I don't I just I can't imagine paying $200 million for a guy that, even if he does come back to pitch, probably only pitches 3 years.
Yeah. I mean that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah. Like, and I get
That's
what
a
he's
really good
done is
point.
unprecedented. That deserves unprecedented money. 700 million is ridiculous, because not only is that a shitload of money that maybe you'll regret at some point, that's money that shifts the market entirely, because Blake Snell is going to go into his negotiations with teams right now and be like, okay, well, let's say half of Shohei's game is from pitching. He's getting 450, but I just won the Cy Young. Shouldn't I get 450 for pitching?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the crossroads. And it's going to affect the market for forever.
That is true. Before you keep going, do we want to save some of these questions? How many do we have left?
There's only 2 questions left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, might as well just go through them then.
All right.
Let's do it.
Top 3 non-alcoholic drink mixtures. I guess.
Mixes?
Yeah. So what mixture of drinks that are non-alcoholic is your top 3? I already have a top 3 right now.
I want you to go first.
Okay, number
I don't
1,
know.
an Arnold Palmer.
Okay.
Easy. Sweet tea and lemonade. Number 2.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I wanted to put this one at 3. I'm gonna have to put it at 2. It's my go-to. You go to a restaurant where you fill up your own cup. They've got Pepsi products. You don't want Pepsi. Root beer and Mr. Pibb mixed together. Fantastic. It's like a cherry.
Wow.
It's like a
Never
cherry root
even
beer. It's amazing.
heard of that before.
Amazing. That's all off.
Wow.
That's all out of here, man. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all off me.
So can I say mixed sodas whenever I do my list?
Yeah, you can mix 2 sodas. That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Last one. I'm gonna be honest. I only have a top 2. I don't mix a lot of stuff.
Okay. Powerade Sprite definitely has to make my list.
Okay.
Yeah, Colin did that whenever we got dinner recently. And I totally had forgotten about that combo. Shout out Colin. We can't wait for you to come back. Yeah, Powerade Sprite definitely has to be on my list. Can I say raspberry Coke? Can I say flavored soda? Does
Sure.
that count?
Fuck it.
Yeah, okay, so vanilla Coke, Powerade Sprite, raspberry Coke.
Fair
Top
enough.
3.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, then I'm gonna add a conditional 3rd place. Dr. Pepper cream soda. It's already a flavor of their
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper, so I'm taking it now.
I mean, that's fair. And for all of y'all who want to go out and try raspberry Coke, it might taste like cough medicine, which is why I like it so much.
That's disgusting. All right, last one. This is a fun one. Did the Grinch really steal Christmas if he gave it back?
No.
All right. That's what I'm saying. He borrowed Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, for about, like, I don't know, what, like 2.5 hours, it was like the worst thing in the world.
Okay, well, hold on. Because if we're talking about the term stole, he stole Christmas for a little bit. Like if
But
he
he
were
gave it
to
back.
steal your car, but you got it back, he still stole your car. He
Yeah.
stole Christmas, but they got it back. So I think he
Yeah.
did steal it. Now that I'm reprocessing this question.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, the Grinch did steal Christmas, but he gave it back. Asterisk, he gave
Yes.
it back.
Yeah. The Grinch, not built different.
Yeah.
If you
Oh man.
were,
Max is built different though.
yeah, Max is built different for sure.
Yeah.
And like, let's be honest, like the Jim Carrey Grinch wouldn't have given it back if Dr. Seuss didn't write it that way.
That is true.
He would have kept that shit for
That
himself.
is true. Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's one hell of a way to end an episode.
Yeah. That's easily the most fun we've
Yes.
probably ever had doing questions.
The age-old debate. Did the
Yeah.
Grinch actually steal Christmas? Oh man, that was just great. Yeah.
We need more questions, Nathan.
Yeah, not just Nathan.
That was fun.
Everybody that's listening.
Everybody.
The person right now that I'm looking deep into your soul, my fingers pointing straight in your face. You. It's like Uncle Sam. I need you to subscribe, like, comment, and turn on notifications on YouTube, and then on the podcast platforms, 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. Leave us a written review as well. And then follow all the social media accounts. They're all below here. You can find that Second and Short Reddit over there, under Luke, right under Luke. It's right over there. And that's where you can submit your questions or anything else, recommendations. You could tell us that you absolutely hate the sound of my voice in your ears on that Reddit, and maybe I'll listen to you. Maybe I'll put a voice filter on. Fuck it. Maybe I'll make it super high pitched so that the next time you listen, you really hate it.
Or we can finally do an episode like this.
Nope. That's it. That's all. Make sure you guys share with all your friends and family, because you're going to see plenty of your family for the holiday season. And with that, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. And we're never doing ASMR ever. Peace.
Peace.